Welcome to Sacred Earth Journey Roundtable, where we travel the world unfiltered, where strangers become tribe, and global peace begins at kitchen tables. And yes, we really do believe that that is possible when we begin to see one another as human and we begin to step away and reject categorical assumptions. And we begin to filter our views of people through logical thinking rather than propaganda and echo chambers. Please check out my latest book, Daughter of Many Tribes, A Sacred Earth Journey. As you read this book, this will describe to you how Sacred Earth Journey even was born and why it was born and the vision and mission behind Sacred Earth Journey. Because to be quite honest with you, at one point in my life, I was trained and indoctrinated to believe certain things about a particular people group and part of the world that once I began immersive travel, all of those things were shattered almost instantaneously. And I began to see the beauty of diversity and intercultural relations. And it has expanded my global view. It has increased my friend network and my tribe. And it has just really opened my life up to so much beauty and so much genuine relationship. And I want to share that experience with others in hopes that you too, if you are stuck in a silo chamber, if you have succumbed to any type of indoctrination or wrong thinking, and it can happen to the best of us. Nobody is completely protected from it, right? So Sacred Earth Journey is an easy read. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and the website sacredearthjourney.com. And you could likely read it even in a day or two. And again, it's just an encouragement to really step out of our comfort zones where we can discover that together our differences make us extraordinary. This is a quote from one of my previous guest legacy guests, John Jackson from Comfort Farms. I want to now bring to you a beautiful sister of mine that I've known, I think, for over a year now. And just an amazing friend. She is a tremendous source of knowledge, wisdom, experience. She is a powerhouse in the Gulf region, and her knowledge runs vastly deep. So I want to welcome now to the roundtable, Taqua Malik. Assalamu alaikum, كيف حالك؟
وعليكم السلام حبيبتي كيف حالك؟ So good to
أنا
see you.
بخير. أنا بخير. شكرا. الحمد
أنا
لله.
بخير.
It's so good to see you
سعيدة
as
بسماع
well.
ذلك. سعيدة بسماع ذلك.
Alhamdulillah. So
سعيدة
Taqwa,
جدا
just
برؤيتك.
go ahead. I normally, instead of me introducing people, I allow my guests to introduce themselves because I believe you're going to share what your heart really wants the listener to hear. So Taqwa, just briefly share a little bit about who you are, how you came to be where you are right now, and then we'll just dive into the conversation.
Thank you so much, Anne. And
my pleasure.
And before I dive in, I just want to take a moment to recognize the great work you do. This is remarkable, this is impactful, and the fact that there is a book that tells the story in your own words through your own lived experiences, reflecting what you've been through to bring you to this point in time, that's big. That's nothing small, and I admire this.
Thank you so much.
It is a journey. It is a journey, and you and I met, each of us in her own journey, and our paths crossed. Though we are on the two other halves of the sphere, but we just cherish those beautiful moments that bring us together, and all the great memories and the friendship and everything wonderful that we share. It just shows that beautiful belief and concept. I'm a firm believer, and that we have so much to bring us together rather than would separate us. Now I'm at a point in my life, in my career, in my realization to understand this even deeper. What I do is a reflection of my own life. What I do is a way to narrate what used to be the sole and only mode of language, understanding culture and life and environment around me, to now becoming a bridge that helps better understand this very vibrant part of the globe with all the advancement and the economic development and the growth that is happening, and everything that is setting it to be ahead of its time
Mm,
is in one way or another cherishes those who endured the very challenging beginnings, the tough
mm,
times, the rough stories of people who hardly were able to make it even possible to sustain those very difficult situations, environments, to where we at right now, to where we um, enjoy, to where we build, to everything that is shaping how the future is going to be. And that comes with so much to be carried forward. Those stories of origin and the origin of the Arabic understanding, the generous culture, the rich history, the
mm,
Islamic foundation, and the way now the world is moving forward with everything being surrounded so gently that this is us and this
yeah.
is who we are and we're proud of it. And we're
Mm,
open to the world and we're open to go forward. And things are going to happen for the benefit of everyone to live and enjoy and grow with absolutely nothing that would make this a discomfort, a difference, a bias. It's the
mm,
unity.
yeah.
Like this screen that brings me and you now, I think it's a live testimony and example. It's
Mm,
not just the language, Anna. It's not just the
right.
language. I enjoy the English. It's beautiful. It's opening worlds and bridging differences, but it's not just the language.
Mm,
It's the understanding. It's the will. It's the determination. This is not gonna stop us from communicating. And it's the joy of the exploration. It's the joy of the
yeah.
diversity. What do you have that I might have a bit different, and we could explore this together? That on its
Yeah.
own is a purpose. So
Jamila,
take
it's this so much.
take all of that and bring it just to a point that brings all of this to be delivered in safety.
Mm,
You touch upon the point about the stereotyping, the wrong concepts, and those come with their reasons that were valid for a
yeah.
while of time, but everything now deserves to be rewritten, the
Mm,
story to be retold, things to be re-explored with a positive lens. Why
mm,
not?
right.
Let me see this again. Let me check this again. Let me visit this place again. Let me meet the people again. Let me talk to them again. Open minds, open hearts, and magic happens.
Mm.
That's it.
Jazaik Allah khair, Ukti. You know,
Mm,
it's just everything you just said. One of the things that I have found myself doing over the last, I don't even know how many years on social media is when I see people on the social media making categorical assumptions, making the comments, and oftentimes very rude, very hateful in all directions, in towards many people groups. And I find myself, one of the very first questions I will pose: how much time have you spent with this people group? How much time have you spent in their community? Almost at least 95% of the time. Not only is their answer none, but many of them will go on to say, and I have no intentions of ever doing so. And so then this is where I try to bring some education and awareness that where are you getting these assumptions from? Where are you getting these views from if you personally have never spent time within this community that you were speaking so with such vitriolic speech about? Where is it coming from? And how do you know it's true if you have not experienced it with your own eyes and your own mind and your own heart? Maybe you're wrong. And it's it does spark conversation, and it does, if not for that particular person, the other people who are watching and reading the comments, they slow down and they start to ask, you're right, I actually haven't. And many times the people and the places where they're getting these assumptions and these frameworks from are people who they themselves have very little experience within the community that the vitriolic speech is being directed towards. And so I love what you said, how we are in a season now where we can almost start over and we can begin afresh. And I love the work that you are doing. I think it is absolutely crucial for this specific season. Um, I had, I can't speak, and I'm going to continue to drink my coffee as we go. By the way, oh, it's backwards maybe. I am recording from Port Coffee in Irving, Texas. I just want to give a shout out to them. They have been so kind to help me with some of my podcast shows. I don't know if you can see it. This is, well, the emblem is not on there, but they provide me with some mint tea and my cappuccino with honey. So Port Coffee, thank you so much. So I have written my questions out because I really feel that they needed to be just perfect for you. You often say that many international businesses don't fail because they have a bad product, but because they don't understand the room they can't see. For someone who's never lived or worked in the Gulf, what does that invisible room actually look like? And why is understanding it just as important as understanding the contract itself?
Great question, Anna. Thank you so much. There is a deeply ingrained framework of thinking and a set of native rules that the Arab world would know by nature, instinctively. And the same applies to any group of people who belong to a certain place. The same applies. That unwritten language is not just a language, it's actually an entire infrastructure that everything else runs on. To give you one of the examples of one of the most common reasons why global professionals do not face challenging times because of their lack of technical excellence. They are super at what they do and they could be the best in their industries. But when it comes to understanding the human layer, which is the most impactful, yet the invisible one that
Mm,
decides everything, it's like moving in stealth mode.
yeah.
The assessment begins way earlier than the formal meeting. Things move
Yes.
in the speed of trust. I like to call it trust to clock. The
Mm,
transaction that happens successfully is simply a translation of a very firm trust base that had been built and a foundation that is strong enough just to make it visible for the transaction to happen. It's just a reflection.
yes.
The fact that some of global business leaders would assign a trip 1 week to 2 week trip to come and meet people, sign contracts, and go, that is not the right way. That is not the
No.
right approach because this is a region that rewards those who come to belong.
Yes.
It's a region that cherishes long-term thinking. It's a region that looks into the generational benefit, the value, the impact, the wealth, and everything great that you will be building. Are you here to give and take, or are you here to be part of the story?
Come on. Yeah.
Being tactful and speedy could work in other places. It can. But if it did, it's not enough to be sustainable,
Right.
because business is people. Who you are, who from my circle trusts you. Are you a name to be referred? Would you hold the reputation and the caliber that I gave you when I referred you? Would you
Mm.
hold it to up to my expectations?
Wow. Yeah.
It's a lot of things carried in
Yeah.
that conversation, in that referral, in that opportunity. So much is carried, and that
Mm.
needs to be thoughtfully built.
Right.
That's what I try to communicate in simplicity. That's It's a long-term game,
Right.
not a quick win. It's a
Come on.
long-term game. Yeah, yeah.
Immediately, I'm going back to one of our other former guest legacy voices, and his name is Midhat Zwayan from Iraq. And his quote was, "Trust is slow." And just to give reference, if you're not aware, on Sacred Earth Journey, uh, very quickly something has organically developed, and it's called the Sacred Earth Journey Guest Legacy Voices. When I have guests on, many of the guests will say something that just it is so poignant and just stands out. You heard me say one of them earlier, and that was, "Together our differences make us extraordinary." Medhat Zwayan, "Trust is slow." Dr. Jared Sorber, "Stay curious." Mahmoud Ansha, "Get uncomfortable." So many other quotes that end up, what happens is we put them on merchandise, and then a portion of the proceeds will go to their nonprofit of their choice. And you just said something that ties in almost to the T with Mr. Zwan's quote, and that is, "Business is people." And just talking about the trust clock. And so often Westerners, we just, it's just different. Is it wrong? In some parts of the world, yes. We just do things so differently here. And of all the places I've been, I believe that here in the West, especially in the United States of America, we tend to just be very fast, very direct, extremely transactional. And we miss the beauty of community. We miss the beauty of developing intentional relationship and trust. And we often run the risk of coming across as extremely transactional and extremely inward focused. What can I get out of the deal? As opposed to seeing the relationship as a long term, communal, beautiful relationship, like you're speaking of. And so, what you're saying is, I love it. And it is absolutely important to recognize that when we show up as a Westerner in any other part of the world, really, but especially in the Gulf states or in the MENA region, we need to show up with intentionality and focus on developing relationship first. We have to come to a place where we are understanding what are the needs of both sides. How can we together create something beautiful that is beneficial to everyone? And this to me is exactly what you're saying. You definitely said it more eloquently, but I'm just saying I agree with you so much.
Thank you. You know, and I never blame anyone for having a different mindset and a different way of looking into doing business. And it's not wrong, it's just different.
Just different.
And we
Yeah.
learn from each other. The beauty in diversity is just unrivaled. It's so beautiful.
Mm,
But from my own experience and my own perspective, I do see one of the main reasons why this has lasted for a long while until fairly recently, the awareness is rising up to a level that commands attention and action, is because there has always been that need for a room of safety.
mm,
Anna, when we talk to people who come from different backgrounds, different places, different cultures, the assumption is there could be a sort of stereotyping, whether voiced out or not, prejudgment,
mm.
fine. But those who take it as a mission and purpose to build that room of safety,
Yeah.
they give it first in abundance. That no question is too big, no
Mm.
question is too small. Everything you say is important, and I'm here to serve you and clear out the confusion for you to win. What can
Yeah.
I do to help? That extent of genuine safety has always been there waiting to be fully served. There have been people before me, there will be people after me, people who started the mission and people who will continue.
Mm.
But now, at the present moment in my time, if I could get one person to get to the safety, to feel okay to ask and get to know what they don't know, for them not to lose a contract they worked so hard to get, is
Mm.
for me mission accomplished.
Yeah.
That's it.
That,
Is
that's
this
that's
that's what we
beautiful.
needed?
You just said clear out the confusion so you win. That's very articulate, it's very intelligent, and it's full of wisdom. My next question is so you bring together several worlds. You're Sudanese, you've built your career in the UAE, you work across Arabic and English cultures, and you're a female entrepreneur navigating traditionally male spaces. We've had these conversations before privately. Which parts of your identity have been your greatest strength, and which have required the greatest courage?
The greatest strength is that I come from a very pure native Arabic upbringing. That is what is giving me, thankfully, the lens to be able to see things as they are. Because
Mm,
for me, it's so innate, it's native. It's me. The upbringing, the life, the language, the understanding, the mood of thinking, everything. What required the most courage, though, is finding the brave to be able to take this message to those who would need it. And the journey of transformation, of preparation,
mm, yeah,
until I got to a point where I'm comfortable and confident that, yes, this is my purpose, I'm ready to serve. That took years.
yeah,
That took years. It took so long and and those who carry that meaningful purpose go through a very rough season of preparation. I've had mine,
Yes.
but when you step to see what this has been preparing you to deliver to those who have been
Yes.
waiting, you realize how God, the Most High, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has been generous
Alhamdulillah.
to bless you with that in ways
Yeah.
you couldn't see, but now you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, you bring up a really special points because there's so much grit and groundwork required years in advance
Yeah.
that the majority of the people are not seeing. And, as our relationship, our personal relationship with one another has developed, you know, ironically, we were both going through very similar seasons in our personal lives. And I think for someone who is so mission driven and understands their purpose, the vision, it can feel very isolating. It can feel very um, lonely as we build and as we go through the required transformations. And there are multiple transformations that we are required to go through as we are building something that is so deeply profound, heavy, globally mission driven. Like these are big missions. These are big visions, right? And it is challenging as a female that we do face much of the work you and I personally are involved in are very heavily dominated by the male community. There are just so many unseen factors of the lives of people who are in work like what you and I are in that people just don't see the challenges. And I have to say, Taqua, you have carried these seasons that I've watched you go through with such grace and such humility and professionalism. I mean, you are such an inspiration to so many people. And just your presence provides such a deep impact on those that are around you. And so I just want to applaud the unseen challenges and journeys that you have had to go through alone because I know that that's been part of your journey. And I just I applaud you for that. And I believe that not just the GCC region, but I believe the world, maybe not in our time, but I believe that the world will feel the positive impacts of your bravery and your courage. I mean, talk for a minute because you left the life and you started somewhere completely different and new by yourself. Just briefly touch on that because that what what encouragement do you have? What wisdom do you want to share, especially for the ladies? I don't want to exclude the men, but she and I are both female. So uh, what encouragement and wisdom would you share with that person who they have a dream and a passion that they're desiring to pursue, but it's going to take some radical change in their own personal life? Speak to them for a minute.
To those navigating hardship, whether our brothers, our family, our friends, the male side and the female side of the world, It might seem like the darkest thing you could ever go through. There will be moments that truly feels there is no light at the end of the tunnel, and why this is happening, and what have I done to deserve such punishment. The attacks get real, the pressure is way too heavy to bear, and there seems really that there is no way out. And in those moments, my invite is to seek the greatness of the Most High, who's still bringing you over those seasons from within, and get to know Him again. And this is not restricted to any group or any belief,
Right.
it's humanity.
Yeah.
These are the experiences that truly show that we have so much in common. We recognize pain, stress, frustration, anxiety, depression. We recognize those, and they know no race, no color, no background. They're human. So when you come out, and you will come out, you will. When you come out of that season of preparation, of pruning, of divine refinement, get ready for those blessings and the restoration that is awaiting on the other side. Get ready for the gift that will come your way, for what's going to be there to reward the patience, for not giving up. Don't give up. It's so easy to say this now that I think I'm stepping into the season that I see the light finally at the end of the tunnel, and my tunnel was a long one. But to those who are there, don't give up.
Yeah.
Exit is always so easy. You just take a detour and you exit. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to live the rest of your life in regret. And what's coming is going to be way better. That it's going to make you forget what you've been through. Because we serve a generous, merciful God. It's happening. It's going to happen, and it will happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't differentiate between a man or a woman. It's humanity in its purest form.
Absolutely. Gosh, I remember really just, I think, on your mountain, you were here when we first met. We were both, like I said, we were both in such challenging seasons of our lives. You had just recently moved to UAE. I don't know how long before, but I don't think you had been there for a very long time. Maybe I don't remember the time frame, but you were at a very low place from the outside looking in. Most people would have said, "What are you doing? Just go back home." It would be easier. I don't think this was ever a question for either of us. It was never a consideration. It was just, we just saw the destination. And there's just my most recent guest, Julie Slovichek. Her quote was, "You got to have grit." I don't know how to encourage someone who maybe doesn't naturally have grit. Julie, you, myself, and quite frankly, I think almost every guest I've had on the show just has this natural seed of grit within us. But I know there are people out there that maybe that doesn't come as naturally. I think there is a larger percentage of the human population that they are really okay and satisfied with just status quo and the comfort zone. But there may come a time in their life where grit is going to be required and they're going to have to push through challenging seasons. And in that season for you, when it would have been easier to pack up and go back home, where did you find your motivation? Where did you find, like for me, I have a picture, a mind's picture of the end result. This is what motivates me. This is what helps me to push through. Maybe it's the image of my grandchildren and my children. Maybe it's the image of, I really do believe that we can foster global peace through the work that I'm doing. It's what this is. I have a vision in front of me, and this is what motivates me to push through the most challenging parts of the journey. Where does your grit come from? Where does your drive come from when you're at the lowest and it's the most challenging? What is it that helps you get through? Like,
Few factors, but each of them answer the question in its own way. The first one is that this is the state where you see things with an unprecedented level of clarity. No distraction at all that could make it a bit opaque to see that vision. It's so clear. You get to see it because everything else around it is just falling off, leaving it the only thing standing out for you to see. That's the first thing. The second thing, and this is something I resisted for a while, is that anything else that doesn't align or would distract you or would keep you away from fulfilling your purpose doesn't work.
come on, you have to shed that. Yeah.
You try and try and try and knock on these doors,
Yeah.
but none opens. And you know you're good for it, like you're qualified to do it. It's yours. It's like under your belt. But it's not working. Why? Because the Most High's purpose is directing you that
Come on.
this is my rejection from what would distract you because I'm directing you to see what you need to
Yes.
see.
Come on. Alhamdulillah.
And last but not least, is now at that point and in that season, you get to know the Creator, the Most High again. It's a time of a reintroduction. You come from a place of asking for guidance, asking for light, the reveal, the direction, not the request type of thing.
Right.
Is this
Right.
job better for me or that job? Should I go to this city or that city? No, you ask deeper now.
Come
What
on.
is it that you are preparing me to serve your people through?
Yeah.
Help me
And
see the purpose that you have over my life to realize
yeah,
and fulfill to the best that I can. It changes.
just so much.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's the challenging seasons, the valleys of our journey. This is where I have always most deeply experienced the divine. And you're absolutely right. What appears to be chaos on the outside is where I had the most clarity with my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So whatever your faith is, just trust and know. I equate it to, I used to, I used to be a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, and the mechanics of exercise, how we build muscle, how we strengthen muscle is actually by tearing it, breaking it down,
Mm.
and it recovers and comes back stronger. Okay, this metaphor fits beautifully with exactly what we are talking about. In those most challenging, most isolated parts of our journey, I believe, and you mentioned the word purification and refining, this is where that happens.
Yeah.
These seasons are needed. These seasons, they are important.
Mm.
They're required.
Mm.
It's not necessarily that we enjoy them, but we can appreciate them. And we can be so thankful, hopefully during, but especially on the other ends of it, and recognizing that this is exactly what we needed. I think of King David and just how like he went through a lot of trial. He went through a lot of persecution. He went through a lot of challenges. And this is where his most beautiful relationship with God was developed, was in those valleys. And I think it's the same for all of mankind. Um So at Sacred Earth Journey, we believe global peace begins at kitchen tables. After years of working inside negotiations and helping people build trust across cultures, what have you learned about human relationships that has nothing to do with business, yet changes everything?
Human relationships are irreplaceable, unforgettable, and non transferable. They are earned, not acquired.
Mm,
No amount of money could buy them. Either you nurture and cultivate them, or you remain on a very shallow level that nothing would buy you your way to the inside.
mm. Yeah, that's so true. So full of wisdom. What's one misconception about Arabs or Gulf culture that you wish people around the world would finally let go of?
Business is slow. If I may correct that statement, I would say it's a bit too early on the trust the clock. If it's a little advanced, it happens fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go a little bit deeper with that. I understand what you mean, but let's dissect that a little bit.
Uh, there have been some very big opportunities, mega projects that required great technical expertise. And by default, those who see themselves qualified, they would um, step forward and come and try their chances. But that alone wasn't enough because in the intelligence language, there is the background check. In the cultural language, there is the trust, the familiarity, the reference, the reputation check. How much do you score?
Mm,
It's not enough to be so brilliant at what you do. That infrastructure has to be honored and respected. And those are the people who are making it really big because they understand that operating on a native infrastructure that is present from the beginning of time is a very smart move to think of, not to go against it and try to go around it, because it's an infrastructure.
Yeah. So business is slow. Would you say instead, then maybe would a more accurate phrase be business is intentional?
Yes, that's very accurate. Yes. When the business is intentional, business is relational,
Yeah.
business is trust based.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the scorecard. Let's have a little fun.
Okay.
So if we were going to develop a business relations scorecard, what would be your top 3 to 5 ranking tools? Like, in other words,
Hmm.
like what would be those 3 to 5 things or questions that you would use to rank business relationship score?
It's amazing you're asking this question because I I finished designing this scorecard this morning,
No
and
way.
I had the exact questions in mind. What is it going to be measured against? Because if I'm going to give a scorecard, then there need to be a clear scale. And where do
That
we
this was
score?
not planned, by the way. I had no idea that
It
she was
wasn't
doing this.
planned, but I came up with something that to me is fair enough of an initial assessment of where we stand. And it's not dependent on a sole factor because it could be a little incomplete of a view if I would say that you're, for example, 5 out of 10 on this. It means that you know very little. No, different elements and factors because you have different experiences and the learning differs. So,
So are you saying
uh,
it's not a pass fail scorecard?
no, it's not a pass fail,
Okay.
but it's
Okay.
a low, medium, high, and you get to see
She's being very
where you're
gracious.
at. But because some of these things are felt, others come through a realization, other come through experience.
Mm,
But in business, you can't rely on very fluid element of feeling, how do assumptions. It needs to be as clear as we can because
mm.
decisions will be made based on that. So that's where the real test came to place. So yeah, yeah.
So share 2 of the questions for this scorecard.
You're testing me.
Yeah, I
Ah,
am.
okay.
It's not pass fail though.
Mm,
We're going to be gracious.
cool. Um, One of the questions is how do you measure the level of warmth you have in a business relationship?
Oh,
How do you think that warmth has cooled down? And there are multiple choices.
okay.
The other question is about the very initial conversations. What do you think of them? And
Oh,
how do you carry yourself? Because I always like to bring attention to this point because I see it happen way too frequently. The initial conversations are treated as the preamble and the hospitality, while it's the real business assessment in motion. It's
come on.
happening
Yeah.
when everything is discussed but business.
Mm,
We're
come on.
talking life experiences, journey, weather, having coffee, very casual. This is where the real assessment is happening. The
So
character
much.
now is being seen because there is no business involved. It's you as a human. So those who wait for this part to end, and then speaking of business, let's talk about this and that. I do this and
Mm,
that. I'm sorry, it's too late.
yeah.
The assessment happens way earlier, very
You are
much
not
earlier.
wrong.
Yeah.
You are not wrong. I often talk about one of my first international experiences going in at leading one of our teams for developing safe houses and evacuation resettlement processes and things like this. And we arrived in country, and of course, we had the agenda, the meeting times, what was going to be discussed, and all the things. Mind you, we hadn't
Mm,
yet met these teams in person before. We had,
mm,
conversed over the phone and on video and things like this, but we had never yet met in person. We arrive in country, we have this agenda, we're ready to hit the ground running. And by the end of the first day, uh, I ended up taking a walk because the team was very frustrated because none of the meetings had happened yet. And so I went and I took a walk and just reflected and was just watching and listening and all the things. I came back and I messaged the team and I told them, take your itineraries, take your meeting agendas, rip them up and throw them away. And we're going to spend the next several days just being with the people that we are here to serve. And let's just be present, drop all of the agendas and all of the business intentions, and let's just get to know these people and let's learn from them. Let's find out what we can learn. Let's watch, let's listen, let's
mm,
observe. Um, and the next 3 days, what I discovered, the meetings that we were wanting to try to set officially happened very naturally and organically, just as you're saying, while we were in the car driving from here to there, while we were sitting in the coffee houses, while we were walking in the city, while we were going to the souks and to the places and buying things and preparing meals and sharing meals and all of these conversations, and they just naturally, organically occurred. And the business side of things was naturally woven in various places. You're not wrong. You are 100% right on this. And if I think this is one of the best questions on this scorecard. It's
a
perfect.
bit revealing. Yeah,
and
it is.
it's these types of questions that, you know, if we are willing to ask ourselves. In fact, I think of a conversation I had with someone yesterday. A friend of mine and she and I were hiking some trails, and she shared with me how uh, she came home uh, from work and she was sharing with her daughter. She's a hand therapist. She's from India, and she was sharing with her daughter um, about a patient that had come in. And she said, I had the sweetest black lady come in. And her daughter immediately said, why are you telling me that she's black? Well, because I'm just trying to describe. Why is that necessary? If she was Indian, would you have told me that she was Indian? And so in that moment, she was forced to assess and think about, well, why did I include that? These are hard questions, and
Yeah.
it's so we
Mm,
have to be willing to actually ask ourselves when we go through these assessments, like, not just superficially, okay, here's a question, answer the question. We need to really spend some time and be contemplative and go deeper, asking, okay, why did I answer this way? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it neither? Is it acceptable, not acceptable? Is it productive? More than anything, is it relational? Am I being a good cultural steward in my with my view of this particular subject?
absolutely. Absolutely. Questions that make you reflect on experiences and realize, oh, this shouldn't happen this way. That would have been better. Ah, Okay, now I realize it makes me think how things went. That's the whole purpose. So, yeah.
Very good. This is so good. Taqua, so there's three key points that you've said during this conversation. You said business is people, clear out the confusion so you win. And more accurately, what you said is, I want to clear out the confusion so you win, is what you said. And then you said human relationships are irreplaceable. And all of these are remarkable, very profound. And I think it would be a good idea for us to just sit and meditate on these phrases that you've said. Just like our previous guest, obviously, I think probably the business as people is a great thing to go on some merchandise if you're okay with that. And then a portion of that going to the nonprofit of your choice. Is there any last, first of all, you've been an amazing guest. I always enjoy our conversations.
Me too.
You're such
Thank you.
a you're such a precious, precious human being. Just love you so much. Is
Loads.
there any,
Likewise.
thank you so much. Is there any last thought, piece of encouragement? What do you want to send the listeners away with?
Have the courage to explore. You don't know what's waiting for you on the other side.
Mm, that's good.
Don't move from a place of fear. Move from a place of gratefulness that you can still do something
Mm,
and invest in those relationships that matter.
so beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the round
Seriously.
table. What is it? It's almost what, 2100? Where you
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
nine.
getting
Yeah,
late.
9 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So thank you so much for investing time to be on Sacred Earth Journey Roundtable. Thank you for sharing your beautiful wisdom, your experiences, your thoughts. We wish you all the best. Inshallah, we know that you are going to be successful and that you are going to leave a legacy and make an impact on the world for greater good. And inshallah, hopefully, I'll be able to be there before too long and we'll be able to collaborate and do some more work together. And this is a wrap for this conversation, for this roundtable. I will include any social media links for Taqua if you would like to connect with her, if you would like to see
Mm.
her work. By the way, Taqua is the first Sacred Earth Journey Roundtable contributing journalist. You can find some of her work on sacredearthjourney.com under the Roundtable tab. And she's doing phenomenal work in the Gulf region. So her links will be provided. And again, you can see her work on the website. And it has been such a pleasure. We're so thankful that you have joined us. If you have found this conversation and any of the other conversations here at Sacred Earth Journey, please subscribe to the channel, like, share it, spread the word. If you know of a guest that would be a perfect fit for the show, please send me that information and make that connection possible. We want to continue to increase our reach, and more than anything, we want to promote that vision, believing that we travel the world unfiltered, where strangers become tribe, and global peace truly begins at kitchen tables.